Welcome back, and joining us on the show is Atul Chaturvedi. He is Executive Chairman at Shree Renuka Sugars. Chaturvedi, hi, thank you so much for joining in. First of all, on sugar itself, how would you look at the markets? Because everybody seems to be talking about the festivities right now. How has the sugar consumption been? And would you say that sugar availability is clearly not a concern right now?
No, sugar availability is definitely not a concern because we have adequate stocks, and in any case, India has been consuming much less sugar compared to last year. So my take is that marginal increase in the sugar prices is definitely on the cards, and largely on the strength of even lower allocation which the government has given for the month of August. August month, they have only allocated about 22.5 lakh tons. So this is actually helping sugar values go up marginally. But I don't see sugar prices running away, because what we are seeing is that the next year's crop looks to be much better than what it was last year. And in any case, the crushing also would probably start a little earlier. And maybe Diwali is earlier, so you could possibly see crushing taking place from to a third or fourth week of October. So that should keep a lid on the prices.
Sure. Mr. Chaturvedi, also, there seems to be a lot of numbers floating around for India's annual sugar consumption, anywhere between perhaps 279 to 285 on the higher side. What is your take within this?
No, I was doing a little bit of a sum as far as the allocations for the current year goes. So allocations till August are lower by about 1.4 million tons compared to last year. So even assuming last year about 700 to 800,000 tons of material would have slipped into Bangladesh, because Indian situation with Bangladesh was much better. So you would probably see the drop in allocation, effective drop in allocation, by about 700 to 800,000 tons. So my take is that our sugar consumption is not above 28 million tons. And we used to earlier pencil in about 500,000 tons of increase on an annualized basis. Now we would probably be penciling in just about the growth in our population, which is closer to about 1%. And at 1%, it will be roughly about 250,000 tons on an annualized basis. The sugar consumption is definitely on the decline. It's not, and the whole lot of alternates, and you also keep talking about 17 alternates. So that is also bringing down the consumption, probably.
Chaturvedi, would you say that it is the household consumption which is declining, but it really is the Horeca or the bulk consuming or the institutional buying for sugar, which clearly seems to be growing, with the fact that you have processed food and bakery items and ready-to-eat food doing quite well?
No. In fact, contrary to what you're saying, what we've seen is on the beverage industry has been struggling for sales. In fact, India hardly had any summer worth the name. We probably didn't see the full impact of summer this year. And the beverage consumption has been down, and beverage is one of the biggest consumer of sugar. You look at cola or you look at Pepsi and things like that. And so probably that segment is facing demand headwinds. Other segments like Horeca and all, their increase may be marginal, but I don't, and that will get factored in within that 1% growth. But beverage is one of the major commodities which has suffered this year.
All right. How are you also looking at the prices then? Because while, of course, the industry has been asking for an increase in that minimum selling price, it also is about the cost of production and the retail, where we haven't seen too much of a gain. But as you said, some bit of an incremental gain is what the street can anticipate during this festival season. What do you see that as a percentage of?
I wouldn't say the industry has been demanding the raising of the minimum selling price, because sugar being a very highly regulated industry has been talking in terms of taking the price increase to about 41 rupees or closer to that, and with the FRP also going up in the current season or the forthcoming season. So there's all the more reason why it should be taken up. But having said that, more important, but the reason why we are insisting on this is it should get actually institutionalized. As it is, that 31 rupees price which has been fixed by the government is meaningless because sugar is selling at much higher prices for that. But what is more important than the minimum selling price is the ethanol. And ethanol, we are now hearing a whole lot of funny stories, or whether they are targeted stories, we don't know. But ethanol is where we actually need price increase if India is to continue to keep 20% blending as their target.
At that point, thank you so much for joining in and giving us those details. Mr. Chaturvedi, ethanol is where price hikes are needed. This summer was impacted by low sugar sales because of beverages and, increasing trend of people going off sugar as well. I was looking at a Varun Beverages note, which is obviously the bottler for Pepsi in India. They say that 59% of their consolidated sales volume, so the last 2 quarters, between 50 to 60% of their consolidated sales volumes have been from products which are no or low sugar. So obviously that does not bode well for the sugar industry, even as it does for everyone's health. So we'll watch out for how that pans out. Thank you, Manisha, for taking us through with that conversation. Take a short break. On the other side, we have the management of Gateway District Parks joining in about their new agreement on a multimodal logistics park.